Hello, Merry Meet. I want to review a book. And the book I want to review is Visual Magick by John Fries. It has a subtitle, A Manual for Freestyle Shamanism. And this is a sort of natural magic mixed with a little bit of ceremonial magic. It's quite interesting, actually. So let's begin with, the publisher is Mandrake. Let's begin with what the book contains. There we have the contents. We have a preface, so that just describes the book. Then we have the seed of the ritual, which basically describes some magical work within this tradition. We have automatic drawing, which let's have a look at that. It's a quite interesting chapter. It's basically about basically divining with nature, and it's about basically automatic writing with drawing, but combining that with nature spirituality. So here's that chapter. It's quite interesting and one of the better ones in the book. And back to and the book has illustrations as well. You can see here, not a lot of them, but there's a few, and they are quite interesting. So, then we have Sideshell Sex and Beyond, which is basically sideshell magic. Like I said, there are some ritual magic in here. But chapter on visualization, access to imagination. Both of these chapters sort of is self-explanatory what I do, but it's quite good. Imagination and prayer, which is a very good chapter, and definitely worth the price of the book. Mandala building, again, pretty self-explanatory. Spirits of nature, which goes more into the shamanism side of the book. Waking the beasts, we are still on the shamanism parts of the books, basically that. Coming to Earth, which is earth-based spirituality, and then we have a bibliography. So, is this book worth getting? I would say it depends on what it is you're looking for. If you're looking for a book that will give you traditional shamanism, this isn't it. This is not based on the shamanic practices of various indigenous populations, and it is not based on old traditions as such, so that's really not what you're getting. What this is basically nature-based ritual magic with a spirit model taste to it. So, yeah, for those of you who are not into the models of magic, basically it's a concept within chaos magic and some other forms of ritual magic, that there are 5 models of magic. I have videos on them, but let me just go through them very quickly. I have the spirit model, the energy model, the information model, the mental model, and the meta model, and they names are sort of self-explanatory. So within the spirit model, you work with spirits. And this is basically it. It's ritual magic, but it's very nature-based ritual magic. So I think that perhaps that would have been a better subtitle for it. Nature-based ritual magic. But other than that, I really, really like the book. It gives a lot of good information. It is definitely a book that is functioning for both somebody who has experience within the occult and just want to check it out, and for those that are coming new and want something to begin with. And the book is pretty well written. Now, like I said, Visual Magick and such is not always the easiest place to start. I've always said that the easiest place to start with magic is things like candle magic, cord magic, those types of things that are very... But these do make a good job of explaining these things. I think that the person that will have the most use out of this book are people who are ritual magicians, who have an interest in paganism and more nature-based workings, and also people who are pagans who are looking for or pagans or working with more traditional shamanism and who wants a bridge into ritual magic. I think this book can be a great way to be that bridge. So, yeah. Bad things about the book? Well, it can be a little bit full of itself at times, but other than that, I can't really see anything really bad about it. It's pretty well done, but of course, like I said, if you get hung up on the word shamanism on the cover and you expect traditional shamanism, this won't give you that. It'll give you some hints of it, of course, but I would say this is more nature-based ritual magic than shamanism. And of course, these things do float into one another, so you might disagree with me on that, but that's how I feel about it. So, yeah. How the book is written... It's not one of those that just flow out of the pages like pearls, but neither is it one of those books that just gets stuck. You just can't get past it. I mean, it's quite shameful, but I have never gotten through Transcendental Magic by Eliphas Levi. I mean, it's a great book. It has so much great occult knowledge in there. And I've tried to read it so many times, but at some point I just go nuts because it's written so dully that you such as say it's like make your eyes bleed as you try to read. And then you have books like basically the words just flow off the page like music. You aren't even realizing that you're reading because it's like words just show up in your head. And this one is neither of them. I mean, it's completely okay for a non-fiction book. It's written pretty well. So yeah, again, it's one of those books that are somewhat hard to review because it's not one of those grades that you have to have. I mean, there are a few books, like, for example, Modern Magic, or A Guide to the Solitary Practitioner, or Gareth Gardner's books on witchcraft, a few of those that I feel that any occultist need to have these books in his or her library. This isn't that. It's not one of those, whoa, this is the most amazing book ever. But neither is it bad. It's a very decent, good book, and those are really the hardest ones to review because you can't just rave on them, but then you don't have a lot of things to nitpick about either. It's a book about nature-based spirituality, and magic, mostly ritual-based magic, quite a bit of meditation, visualization, basically. Yeah. Like I said, if you want a link between ritual magic and paganism and shamanism and other more nature-based things, so basically you can have a link between ritual magic and that, you will. This book is, I think, is pretty good for you. If that's not what you're particularly looking for, then it's not one of the most must-haves, but it's a decent book. So yeah, I don't think you will be disappointed if you pick it up. Excuse me, that's my phone. Let me see if I can stop Baron Harkonnen from... Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, like I said, it's a pretty decent book. It have everything you need to start with the system. System is pretty interesting. It's a little bit different from the more mainstream books you'll find. And it has some nice illustrations, so yeah. Give this book 7 out of 10. It's pretty decent. That's my review of Visual Magick by Jan Fries. I hope you have enjoyed this review. Have a great day, and blessed be.